badass.
The words badass together. I can't, and we've had it a lot today, and I don't mean to sort of like diminish anyone who used it because it was really nice for them to say it. Came with good intention. I can't, it makes my toes curl up so far into my body that I no longer have an ass.
Whoa.
Yeah.
AP, let's go.
What were you doing with that big girl?
I wanted to make something kind of fun and sweaty and violent, and maybe push myself to sort of try something a bit different, I guess, to my last film. And making something about a bodybuilder was just the sort of initial thing. I just thought that seemed like really sort of interesting territory to kind of explore, and the sort of psychological traits it might take somebody to actually do that, and then how can you make their life difficult story-wise. And then, yeah, I just had a lot
Trying to torture me.
Yeah, and then I tried co-writing for the first time, which I really enjoyed. So writing it was just a super fun, exploratory sort of process.
Kristen and Katy, what were some of the things that really excited you about this script and the ideas here?
I guess like in your dreams, you don't always do the right thing, and in movies somehow like girls are kind of expected to make everyone feel really comfortable. I think that's like a very default setting for women in general, and in this case it was like, yeah, but what if I'm pissed and my rage is boiling out and bubbling over, and it also really turns me on to share that with another person, and what if we killed my dad? And you know what I mean? Like, and what if that made you like, that's a movie. Yeah, I know, but then you're like, but what is the shape of that movie? And you're like, I don't know. That could be so many things. So I loved that it felt a bit like mythology, like a comic booky throwback 80s kind of like, ooh, these characters are kind of like archetypes, but then they surprise themselves and scare each other, and yeah, like the kind of fever dream that falling in love is, I think was really captured well. You know, you sort of become someone you don't want to be, but then only to lead back to the triumphant place of being able to enjoy like another person. There was just something about it that I was like, I can't finish any of these sentences, but the movie is good.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something that's like just about, I don't know, resilience or just about one thing. It's like it's got all these layers that you can add to it, take away from it, whatever you want. There's so much that you can read into it if you want to, which I think is cool. Or you can just watch it and have fun. And like reading it, like I've never felt this experience before in reading a script where you're like, I'm turning the next page, like, what's happened then? What's going on? Oh my God. And I'm freaking out and I'm shaking and I'm there with the characters. I'm like watching it as I'm reading it, which is like, you know, I usually only get that with like a book. It's very hard to translate, I think, to a screenplay. But yeah, I just thought it was amazing writing. I had seen Saint Maud. I thought, you know, I was like, that's the kind of crazy that I want to get involved with. And then, yeah, I was lucky enough to get involved.
That's it. And then a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best movies aren't easily describable. Like, they can't be boiled down to like the log line, right? Like,
Right.
because I was like, what is this movie? I didn't know how to describe it before I saw it. I'm still not even sure if I know how to, but yeah.
We really helped
certainly
you.
are good at it.
We're really helpful.
How would you sort of describe the dynamic between the three of you?
And the three of us.
It's just like really hostile,
I was going to say
aggressive.
deeply professional, very serious.
Like that too.
Until it, descends into violence and just inappropriate.
Very.
I'm just watching Rose squirm. I'm like, yeah, keep going.
Then
not
what?
gonna
Then
help
what?
you. Then what? Yeah, and what else are you thinking, huh?
Fine.
Our dynamic
would you
was
categorize
cool. I think we, like Rose is our boss, and she's really smart and like, you know, and like made this audacious and, you know, singular, unique experience personal for us, and like let us be our own individuals and like just like traipse all over her thing, and trusting her enough to, hey, I'm getting really serious about how cool you are, and like knowing that she was never gonna let any of our reckless behavior like nudge the movie off of its path. It's so fun to work with people that are like cuckoo birds, but also really like concerted.
Yeah.
She should make movies. Like,
Yeah.
it's like not, I keep saying this, but like not everyone should do it. We all love them. I mean, we all tell stories. People we are only all bound together through the sort of shared lies and mythologies that we create for each other. She's like good at creating them. I just like sign up. She created this feeling and like this sort of like aspirational kind of like mark to hit. And I don't really know what it was about. I do, it's just hard to articulate in like 5 minutes, but she like kickstarted these engines and it was really fun to sort of rip roar through the experience. We've been talking all day. New words. This is a new answer.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Did you, Rose, I had read that you sort of had a list for the cast and crew to watch, you know, Cronenberg's Crash and Paris, Texas and Showgirls. Like, Kristen and Katy, were any of those movies new to you? Or like, did you find different dynamics in sort of exploring them as it related to this?
I had never seen Showgirls. I watched it in the trailer like halfway through the movie and came out and was like, okay, so I'm not big enough. I'm not thrusting hard enough. I get it.
Not walking away dramatically.
Yeah, so that's why you wanted me to go bigger. Starship Troopers was one that I had seen that hasn't been brought up a whole lot. Just a weird European perspective of like,
I think it's like while you're talking
Psychotic
about
aspiration.
Showgirls, might as well throw that in. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a few I didn't see. I'd like to revisit the list.
I wasn't able to find Crash in
That's crazy.
anything other than French, which I don't speak. And it's not in French, but that's what it was in.
I bet you could just like buy it.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I didn't try it, but you know what I've recently...
It wasn't on Mubi.
Yeah, I always forget about like going on like iTunes or whatever, but like I didn't try, and I'm like relearning that this is an amazing source, is the library.
Oh yeah.
Because they had like, I wanted to watch The Goddess for a different reason. 1958, Patty Chayefsky, I can't say his name, Patty Chayefsky, but
Say it again.
couldn't find it anywhere, and it was at the library. So go to your public library, friends and family.
Oh,
Anyway.
it's nice.
Yeah. Or just watch it on YouTube.
Sure, if you can find it, yeah.
Yeah. The best is just being so technologically inept that I'm like, my Google search history is probably so
Shocking.
off-putting.
How-
Yeah. How is she still alive?
Yeah.
Can you stream?
Yeah.
I can't believe I even know the word stream.
Right.
Well
yeah.
done.
No, YouTube's good, and good movies still translate, even if it's like someone who was filming it on like a VHS. Like I watched it, Irreconcilable Differences on YouTube. It was terrible copy, but Katy, how did Jackie sort of like come alive when you signed on? Or I love this idea of like a character isn't fully formed until the actor sort of brings their own person to it.
Well, there's that. I mean, what really helped me was everything else around too. Like, we're going in for whatever you call it. We're kind of checking out the wardrobes and the hair and the makeup, and we're the testing.
Camera
You know,
test.
like camera
Yeah.
test. And then getting to see Jackie next to Lou, and then getting to see Jackie in the gym. You know, all of these little little moments just inform the character, and it just makes it so much better. So it's like
Standing next to you in the wardrobe for the first time,
Yeah.
which I thought was great, and like we were definitely coming towards like a fully formed person in some way. But then like as soon as we just stepped on camera and like you were there and I was there, I was like, oh wow, this is a whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can feel the dynamic immediately, like what it's gonna look like from the outside and what story that tells.
yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. So it's just everybody. It's a team effort, and it was. I was thankful for it because there were things that I was like, I don't know. Like I was trying to tell Olga, the costume designer, I was like, well, people wouldn't really work out in this, and she's like, Katy, people don't grow to be like 35 feet either. Like she goes, we're going for the magazine vibe, like the sexy vibe, and it's like 100% what Jackie needed. And it
Olga's
was like,
so
Yeah, yeah.
good.
yeah,
Oh, she's
yeah.
brilliant.
She's the best.
Yeah.
It was
She's
great.
brilliant.
And then even the workout equipment, that you got it from the 80s, and so it's
Yes.
made for men because women didn't work out in the 80s. So everything is like
They
you
did
have
aerobics.
to. Yeah, they did aerobics. Jane Fonda, all that. You had to like adjust your own height to try to figure out how to get the right muscle because it's just bigger equipment. It's just
So then you're doing
ergonomically-
like upper body, but you're also doing a good calf raise.
Right, yeah, exactly. It was kind of cool because I'm like, that's not even something I would have thought about just, on my own, hanging out, going to a normal gym
Yeah.
every day.
Right, you're like, oh my god, the 80s sucked.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think it is so subversive to sort of like make a movie about female power that's also literally about bodybuilding? I mean, why is that resonating?
maybe it's just something you haven't seen. I don't know. I haven't seen that many films which have female bodybuilders in it, so maybe it's just a bit different to what people are used to seeing. And
You said something recently about like having like looking at a female body like that. Like there's something kind of punk about it.
yeah,
Because it's like that's not. When you think of feminine qualities, you think like on paper immediately. Unfortunately, we defer to like demure or soft or elegant or sort of like, something languid or something. And you're like, well, she's a woman, so she's inherently feminine. And that's just not the shape that you're used to, but it is definitely female strength. And like, I think also just sort of like playing with toys that we're not usually allowed to play with in a petulant way. I'm like looking at Rose going, because you're a brat and you're hilarious. That's why you wanted to do this. And it's so satisfying to be like, okay, so you made this great movie. This is a sibling to Saint Maud, I think, for sure. Like they're sisters in some weird way. But you can tell that she's having conversations with studio executives and development producers being like, what's your next thing? We really like support you, because it did well and it was good and it was singular and it was like unique, and so therefore people understood it and accepted it and it was successful. But that is crazy, because most people who decide to fund movies don't take risky bets. Taking a bet on her is like such a cool thing. Because I think the idea of this strength, it must have come from annoying conversations that you were having in rooms with people who fund movies. And I could be wrong, but that's my take.
oh, what, being like, do something with a strong female character.
Yeah.
In it. I'm just gonna make her really muscly.
Okay, well, she'll be really strong then. Yeah.
Same with the kick-ass females. I never really you wince, but you don't know why you're wincing. but it's-
Badass, yeah.
Oh, man.
Badass.
The words badass together. I can't, and we've had it a lot today, and I don't mean to sort of like diminish anyone who used it, because it was really nice for them to say it. Came with good intention. It makes my toes curl up so far into my body that I no longer have an ass.
Wow.
Yeah.
AP, let's go.
I am so curious about, cutting a woman cutting off her hair in movies is such a trope of like whatever, and like you obviously had to do this to shed your Spencer thing. But I am so curious about this thing that you guys did together, and doing that together. And if you could just take me back to that and describe what happened. Maybe it's just your haircut.
I was doing a thing. Yeah, we cut it off immediately, and I really like having long hair. It's such a descriptor, though. It's like such a character on your body. Like, when I have long hair, I move my body completely differently. I walk into rooms differently. I wear different clothes. Like, I might do everything differently. Like, everything. When my hair is a certain length. And, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt as soon as you cut it off as well. It's like, oh, well, there she is. There's
Yeah.
Lou. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's
and
nice.
it's nice because we figured that she probably would have like done the haircut herself. So you had a deer doing it. Look, and I was like, this maybe looks a bit too good.
Grab the scissors. Yeah.
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 And then I was so
Kristen Stewart.
addicted to cutting my hair after we made the movie. I was like, I couldn't stop just like blunt fronting my
Yeah.
bangs. And I'm now trying to kind of like grow a little bit out of that into some sort of neutrality. But
So I chopped mine off instead.
yeah,
there you go.
She had hair down like past her, like very, very
As
long
long as
hair.
it ever been.
Waist length.
Just gets in the way.
It does.
If I wasn't an actor, I think I'd always have probably like some short hair, and I'm grateful that I've had to like push into the other area, because I'm like, oh, I really do like that too. Like, provides this other flavor. Not in terms of aesthetic, but like how I actually feel.
Yeah.
The hair was important in this.
It was a little
film.
return to form. It did feel really good. Yeah, like
They-
coming back to
Your
the
wrap
lightness.
gift was little bits of pieces of hair, right? Like
Yes.
everyone's wigs and stuff. Did
Yeah.
you get your hair?
I've got a bit of both of your hair.
Amazing.
Have you read
Megan,
The Chronology of Water? The book?
No.
There's a chapter called like on hair and scars or something like on hair. Yeah.
I've got lots of little like boxes with like bits of all the characters' hair somewhere at home, which I got given as a wrap gift from Megan and all the hair department, which is creepy but nice.
No, it's
It's
really
lovely.
cool. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
It's pretty on
Well, a bit
brand.
of your wig and a bit of one of Ed's extensions and Dave's extensions, and
the rat tail.
maybe I just had a bit of your hair.
A little clipping.
Yeah.
That's a good souvenir. I like that.
Did you donate your hair?
No, I should have done.
Is it swirled up in any box anywhere?
Once, not this time, but once when I went from long to short again, I did chop off the whole ponytail, so I have got at least one little box somewhere at home in London with my hair in it.
In case you need it.
This does feel more you
Thank you.
even though I don't know that.
It's
And
very
there
kind of
Rosemary's
is.
Baby. It's very like,
multitudes.
yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah. I
But
think
the
it's
long
very
hair
faucet.
thing,
Mostly been short.
she would direct on set with like waist length hair and like a sort of wrap kind of skirt thing with like flip flops,
It was so
like
hot.
a big t-shirt,
Oh, God,
and we'd
so
just be
hot.
in the middle of a really sort of like inhospitable desert. And I'd be like, I'm gonna pick you up. We're gonna walk through this desert. You're gonna die out here. Very impractical director.
I had like a broken toe and a trapped nerve as well when we first turned up in Albuquerque for prep. I literally got off the plane with like a sort of thing on my leg and a crutch and like my arm here, just like, okay, I'm here to make an action
So
movie.
strong woman,
Yeah,
strong
exactly.
woman.
Just like
Badass.
so bad.
Rose, are you a filmmaker who likes to watch people watch her movies because they are such like visceral, full body experiences in a way?
So far, I think I've now started sort of sitting out because I've seen it too many times, but definitely like the first few festival audiences, it's great to be there in the audience, and particularly, you know, hearing people make involuntary gasping noises and laughing in all the places you hope they would is very nice. So yeah, that is quite fun.
I watched it in front of her at Sundance, and I didn't know that she was like right behind me. Afterwards, I was like, "Where were you?" She's like, "I was right behind you." And I had a friend who had seen it for the first time, and this movie was made for her. Like she's like my best friend, and it like I was so happy for her to see it. She works in our industry, like we love movies. Like this one in particular, I was like, I can't wait for you to see this. She visited us on set, and the whole time she was just going like this. I don't know if you saw that. And I was like, oh, people are gonna think that we're like celebrate. This isn't. Stop touching me. Because we're in front of so many people. But isn't that sick? I know that part was cool. Yeah.
Do you feel like, I mean, I know obviously it's been a couple of festivals, Berlin and Sundance. Like, do you feel like people are getting it? Is it being received in the way it was intended? You know, what is sort of your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, like so far it's been very nice and positive, and people who don't like it, I'm kind of like, fair enough. It's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, so far so good.
It's funny, you can kind of weed out. There's a line in Chronology where it's like, I started weeding out friends based on their reactions to Empire of the Senseless. It was like, the women who were like grossed out and walked out of the room, I stopped being friends with, and the women who sort of smiled quietly to themselves and touched themselves were the ones that I kept. I feel like this movie kind of does the same thing. It's like, if they're, you know, if it, not to be alienating and sort of us and them-y about it, but it is like, ready? I'm gonna sell the movie. Not for everyone. But that's why it actually should be for everyone.